Hey everybody, welcome into the Beehive. I'm your host, TheBee at LLC, and this is where we stack precious metals like it's pollen and nectar. Our pollen is silver and our nectar is gold, preserving our wealth as honey of old. Like ancient metals, we hold our own. I'm going to run through some instructions. And must be 18 years or older to purchase on this auction. Email me longlivecoins@gmail.com with any wins you make throughout the night. Please include what you won and at what price, along with your YouTube name and address you would like it shipped to. I will send an invoice through Clover. So if you ever wonder if you have an invoice from me, if you type in Clover into your email, that should bring up my invoices. And just remember, bees like clover for honey, so that's where I keep my pollen and nectar. It's in Clover. So I will send an invoice through Clover to your email, which includes many forms of payment. And if none of the forms of payment within that invoice works, I also do Zelle and Cash App. None of the payment methods charge a fee except for PayPal. If you use PayPal, please add 4% to your total. All the other payment methods are free of any extra charge. Shipping is $7 in the US. The top bidder with the highest value gets a freebie. And tonight's freebie is the 10th ounce Liberty right there on the back of the easel. It's 1 10th ounce 3/9 fine silver round. And anybody can win the freebie. You just got to be the highest bidder of the night. You can't win 2 auctions in a row. Other than that, you're good to go. We're going to bid $1 increments up to 100 and then $5 increments over 100. My special guests are always welcome to bid, as well as the moderators. And my special guest, which tonight is SPACEMINER, gets free shipping. So if you're ever a special guest, remember to remind me to give you free shipping. And one unique rule we have here is that you can bid with insurance, but you have to pay it. So be careful on how crazy you get there. We will run a 3-minute timer and then count it down. 3, 2, 1, sold. And today, if and when we exceed 10% of the subscribers, we will put a coin from the Hive's treasure chest up for auction. So that's about 35 likes today we'll go with. And any ancient coins sold here come with a lifetime money back guarantee to be genuine. And if you need a little bit of time to make payments, I can go out to 4 months on the ancient coins with a payment plan, one payment a month. And then when I receive the full 4th payment, I will ship it off to you. And with that, let's bring in our special guest, SPACEMINER. Welcome in. You there?
I'm here, buddy.
Hey, there he is. Sounds good. I don't have an echo now either. Cool. Can you hear me?
I can hear you just fine, and that's good.
Yeah, beautiful. I think everything's working clear now. All right. Get started here. So the freebie for tonight is this little. There's a little bit of something going on there. Okay, so yeah, 10th ounce, 3/9 fine, Liberty silver. United States Mint, or Golden State Mint, I mean. And that will be the freebie. We're the top bidder of the night. We're going to get it started off here with a with the usual. One of these days, this one's going to go. We're going to try it at a reduced price today. So yeah, the silver price has been hit pretty good here of late.
Yeah, we watched it run, and then we watched it knocked back, and I think what we're witnessing is a huge influx of people entering the market.
I hope so, because this is, you know, depending if we get one more, like, if supposedly I watch it. I don't know if you ever watched the Market Sniper or not, but he's pretty good. And he thinks if we get one more good knockdown like we just had, this might be big explosion we're all waiting for. So I don't know. It's been one of those things where I kind of expected it to get more volatile, but keep going up and not really hit this explosion like might be coming. So if that happens, it could be this could be what we've been all talking about here for a while. It's possible.
I don't think there'd be a lot of us too upset, but if you're waiting for a buy-in, you know,
Sure.
I don't know how long I would wait, you know, but
Right.
that's the big debate, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, obviously for me, since I've been stacking, this is just you know, add more as much as you can, you know. Time for me, because I expected a slower, more steady upward for a while with more volatility. But again, if the banks start going down and the contagion keeps going, and you know, the silver price even gets hit lower, it might really turn around and go the other way. You know, like nickel did or something like that, and could just be kind of priced out suddenly, you know, for a lot of people. Or at least that might be the mindset that it creates, you know, is, oh, it jumped way so far. Now we got to wait for it to come down, and it may not. So,
Well, how many second chance stackers are there out there, you know, guys that, oh, I missed it, and then it comes back down, and they're like, you know, it's that FOMO now or never kind of attitude. And
yeah,
you know, like I've been stalling on silver for a minute, you know, just to see, you know, and it seems to be notching down. It wouldn't surprise me if the volatility itself kind of spooks a few more dollars out of it, you know.
Yeah, could be, and I just don't think there's the room, you know, there's the room there with the tightness because of the paper markets. So I think it could be quite an eruption if it goes the other way. We'll see.
Well, I kind of wonder. I wonder how many people it would take entering the market, or how large of a consumer it would take to enter the market before it kind of diluted the market enough to kind of like slow down the volatility, you know. So if you had a whole country make a move, you know, depending on the country, would that be enough to slow volatility, or would that only accelerate it at that point?
Well, if they sold, like if you had a bunch of countries start selling a bunch of silver onto the market, I mean, that might keep the price down. But I just don't see that happening I mean, basically from what I see, you got all the countries trying to rake up every little bit of you know, precious whatever it be, whether it's rare earths or precious metals or just metal itself, you know. I think the commodities are going to be what people start stacking for preservation, for space, for power. That's what I think, because you see, you know, all these countries they're not only going into gold, like China's trying to build up and stockpile a bunch of just metal. They've been just getting heavy into metal, regular metal, just to have it for the future, you know.
Well, you know, and that kind of brings on another thought. You know, you'll hear me say a lot, it doesn't really matter what metal you choose, if your game plan is set for that metal right. And so it kind of makes you wonder, some of these more poverty stricken countries that can't quite afford the gold and silver. It kind of makes me wonder if some of these guys are starting to lean at some of your semi-precious metals, like your nickels and your coppers and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And so, with the if you're seeing gold, silver, platinum go through the roof, well, then you might start scraping up what's at the bottom first and kind of get ahead of that wave.
Yep. For sure.
Hey, water.
And I think it will not only be, like you say, it won't only be the precious metals. It'll be anything. I think they're trying to already commoditize water, and which is just ridiculously scary to me. I don't think that's a smart thing to do.
Yeah, kind of makes you want to buy properties and slap in wells just so you can grandfather them.
Yep.
Could you imagine what a great investment that would be? You just buy barren property, slap a well in it, make sure a transformer's on the nearest line, and then just wait for the regulation. That could surely change things. Well, I know, for example, I've done a lot of trucking and a lot of oil field trucking, and among that was water hauling. And I know that down in West Texas, southern New Mexico, water gets expensive really quick, especially when these big companies are using a lot of it. There was plenty of times I'd do a 150-mile turnaround to be able to hit a well in time, a well that's still springing, still full, and still producing, and fill up my truck and turn back and run the 70 miles back, 70, 75 miles back. And we were paying double, triple, quadruple for water sometimes. And so it's not unreasonable to think that water could be the next major regulated asset.
Yep. Yep. I think it's going to be. Yeah. Going to be one of them anyway. I think they're talking about, doing them all basically, and they want everything, tracked and traced and yeah. So I think all the commodities, let alone I think silver and gold and precious metals will be one of the top, but I think they're another reason they're holding that down, because it's such a canary in the coal mine for everything else as well. And like you say, for those that see it, they're going to start just getting whatever they can, be it normal metals or rare earths or whatever they might need in the future,
And you got to kind of wonder how much of it is a ruse, because while we're busy buying up all the metal, they're busy buying up all the farmland. You see what I'm saying?
Oh, for sure. With the farmland, that's a whole different, deal and argument. Like, my family has had I grew up on a ranch, and we had, through a divorce, we lost half of it, but half of it we still have. And, so I watch what they do to ranchers, and, like if you go to the store to buy a package of hamburger, you're going to pay $10 for a pound of hamburger nowadays. And, that would turn out. Now they are getting good numbers right now for their cows, but nowhere near what it should be. And it's just the way they do it with all the commodities, being grain and all this stuff. Your average farmer back in the day used to, if he had a good year and good crops, he'd rake in a nice pot of money. And now with all the regulation and taxing and the controlled substances for fertilizers and the prices that you have to pay on these things, it's it's just ridiculous, really, and hurting the farmers but like you're saying, you got Bill Gates and all these high up, rich people like that buying up the farmland and, also investing in these not meat foods, these fake meats. And so that they're looking at food for sure. When I tie all this stuff together, it all ties together, and that's what's so frustrating about it. But yeah, farmers are getting hit really hard, and what they have planned for them in these next few years is outrageous as well. So it's gonna get interesting. But yeah, I think if you can hold it through this little ordeal, through this great taking, as it were, I think it will be very, very valuable. It's just going to be hard to get through this little next span here, I think.
Right, I agree. Well, and with the farmers on that note, I've been theorizing something, I don't know, maybe I'll coin it something like a subsidy suppression, because a lot of these farms, they're the government subsidizing them to not grow crops, for things like water resourcing and stuff, but what's that going to do to the farmer in the long haul? Because the subsidy is not a profit, it's just kind of like a guaranteed sell without farming,
Yeah. And
meanwhile, cost of living and production's going up, so it's creating this gap in their ability to even provide for their own land.
Brian Kerr, welcome in. Good to see you. Yeah. No doubt. And the other thing that's doing is it bottlenecks everything, where like normally you have trucks running to grab grain and then they take it to their local mill, and that keeps all those things in business and going. But when you cut that out for just a little while, and enough people do that, then the rest of the industry has to kind of shut down and bottleneck as well, And it just it's just leverage over it, and it keeps getting worse. And so yeah, it'll have to break out the other way here eventually. And I think that's why they're buying up the land, and they understand these things, and that's what's happening.
Yeah, it's kind of hard not to see nowadays.
Yep.
So, but I guess that's why we are grabbing what we can grab, because you can't grab land for $25 a paycheck, but you can grab metal.
Yep.
So I guess you lean at what you can afford at the moment.
Yep.
And try to benefit yourself anywhere you can get ahead, anywhere you can reduce a bill,
Yep. For sure. And gardening, we've been, trying a bit of gardening. I think that's going to be important, not just price wise, but health wise too. There's a lot going on there, so it won't hurt to get a little bit of a green thumb. If everybody had their own garden, that would help a little bit. You do any gardening?
I do. I haven't in like 2 years since I landed on this property, because I've been like trying to like cultivate my soil, trying to like grow dirt pretty much. And so, because when I bought this property, it was like the lower end of an old feed store. And so mostly it was like parking, gravel parking, old, like, back in the 40s, so it was overgrown. And I came through and I started tilling the whole land up, screening out the rocks. I've been seeding it with like everything, everything from flowers and vegetables to grass, kind of like whatever will take. And then using like the grass for like a weed choke, and then using the flowers for like pollinators and trying to like attract some bugs up in here. And then just playing the old choke out, screen out, and green fertilizer method.
Yeah. That's what in our garden right now.
But we are planning. Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, and I was just saying that my wife has a nice. It's kind of grassy, along with the vegetables and whatnot we're growing. And if we keep the grass down, it kind of helps keep the weeds down. But yet you have kind of an overgrowth, doesn't burn the soil as much, and so yeah, we try to keep it trimmed down. But a little bit of grass is and then you can leave the cuttings there, and kind of just makes for a nice base or something.
And it also serves for water retention too, because if you can shade your soil, it kind of slows down that evaporation and the sun baking and stuff.
Yep.
So I'm not a poison guy. I hate poisons. And so anywhere I can do it naturally, I will. And if I can't beat it, with like seeding and, fesk work, if I can't do it with that, I'll get out there with my hands, so.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. And so do I understand right that you're a beekeeper?
No, I don't keep. No, that's something that everybody's. I said many times that I'm not, but it just because I give out the chapstick and I've got the bee name and everything, and I correlate everything to bees and honey. That would just be why people think that, but no.
Okay, my apologies.
No, that's fine. I've explained that a few times, but it's a normal question. Which, I don't know. Everybody thought I was mixing up my lip balm, and I had to go like, no, I'm not mixing the stuff up in my backyard. You just buy it online, and then you can add your own label. It still supports, beekeepers because you're buying their stuff from them. But
right.
That's what I'm doing.
Well, what else do you do? Do you you got any other yard hobby besides gardening, or like landscaping, as an example?
We definitely have on our little place here since we moved in. In fact, we had to landscape our garden. We kind of have a little hill, and I made a cutout of the hill and bricked it up, and then now we're using that for a garden bed. And we did a little bit of work to the place. Got a little bobcat when we first moved in, and had fun with that for a few weeks.
Yeah, that was smart of you to grab the tool.
Yeah.
Every time I do dirt work, I got to go rent a backhoe or something, and I wouldn't mind grabbing just a piece of machine to keep around,
Yeah, I know for sure.
But I don't think my property is big enough to justify it. So.
Yeah, well, we could only justify it for a couple weeks, and I'd like to get it back so I could do some post holes and make a little bit better fence than we have now. You can get just about any attachment for those little bobcats. They're pretty handy. You can put a little bucket on them. You can put a disc on them. You can put a post hole digger on them. Quite a bit you can do.
Did you have fun getting used to those foot controls?
Oh yeah, I enjoyed it. Even had my son in there playing with the controls a little bit. We had fun. Yeah.
Believe it or not, in the equipment world, that's kind of a desired skill, the ability to also operate a bobcat.
Oh yeah,
because most guys can operate deer and cat, but to operate a bobcat is sometimes a little bit special just because of those foot controls.
Yeah. I even remember back on the job sites we had those bi-directionals where your back tires can like turn out of line with your front tires, and you can get your all kitty wampus and weird angled. And those are interesting to drive. I don't know if you drove those or not, but
the forklifts you're saying, or
well, yeah,
I'm not so sure.
They're it's like they're 4-wheel drives and they're bi-directional, but they also have like a a way that it hinges in the middle, and so your right tires can be offset to the right, and your front tires can be offset to the left, and you're driving forward, but you're all doing it all kitty wampus kind of, and so it's I don't know. I can't remember what exactly you call it, but I've only drove them a few times, but it's definitely interesting. It's above my
I've
pay.
been around them a lot, never driven them though.
Yeah, I had to drive one because there's a guy that was all upset. He got in it to move it, and he didn't know the back wheels were not driving straight, and so he got in, just thought he could drive forward, and he drove right over a car, and he got
No.
out all embarrassed and handed me the keys and said, "Okay, go ahead."
Oh, that's awesome. Love that.
But yeah, they're kind of tricky for sure. I wasn't an expert by no means, but I didn't run over the car anyway.
Well, that's how you learn.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't count that down, did I?
So what do you got going for us tonight there, E?
Oh, just some usual. I tried to get set up. I was behind again today, so I was trying to get that microscope set up, and I couldn't quite get it how I wanted it. James Reel, welcome in. How you doing, bud? So that's frustrating. But I want to try to break that out in a little bit, and we'll look at some osmium.
Got James and Homestead up in here. What up, y'all? Water the possibilities, dude. Or are you a female or dude?
Water's a guy, and I just
Water's a guy. That's right.
Him on my channel this last Sunday. I had a little interview with him, and he's got an interesting channel. He's really dives into the U.S. Mint and their products, and so it's like he does deep dives. Like he knows all things when it comes to the U.S. Mint. So it's kind of good for me because I don't follow it very closely, and a lot of people are upset with him now. So any unique, cool stuff might be a good time to get in. Yeah.
Whenever I entered the silver gold world, I thought I was coming in for the coins. I sincerely thought, I was aiming at coins, and it didn't take me long at all to fall into just straight rounds and bars. And I realized, man, I was like, I'm not one of those numismatic guys. I just kind of found out I really wasn't, and that I was really just interested in the art. And now, don't get me wrong, like you start going old enough and getting into like ancient coins, I think that's cool. But
yeah.
modern coinage, I just, I'll buy it right alongside the rounds if I like the art, like a lot of the Cook Island stuff. Really dig that.
Yep.
But modern coinage is just, I don't know. I don't know if there's as much into it as there used to be, I don't know if it's as meaningful as it used to be.
Well, I sure know that for me, that's why I'm so into those ancient coins, because I just think that you can glean so much more out of those ancient coins than I get out of today's coins. That's for sure. Whether I'm just myself dreaming all this into it, I don't know. But for me, it's ridiculous how much more I get from what I feel those coins are saying, as opposed to just a modern, like, stamped bullion or coin. Yeah. So I don't know.
Yeah, you had a piece on the other night that's a good example of that, where it served as like a tribute to one of to a Roman leader that had come in.
Yeah.
I can't remember which coin it was, but you were explaining that, that they had their little kingdom, and then the Romans came in, and to pay tribute and homage, they went ahead and minted the coin, in Roman form, and and just the culture behind it, I thought was awesome.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, well, that's it, and then you start realizing what like some of the symbols mean on there, and it's to me, you can just even for the time, I think it was saying a lot, and then you can look back and see what it was probably meaning at that time or somewhat of it, but yet it also explains so much about the culture and that it adds a whole nother layer from like your viewpoint. I don't know how to explain it, but it's yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. It's like modern coins. They put a lot of emphasis on tribute to the past, where really they should be memorializing the current,
Yep.
because that's the thing that makes the history in the future. you know.
And then once
So
you realize that much of our coins are just offtakes of ancient coins and not as good in my opinion. Like so yeah, like you would be surprised at some of the symbology on ancient coins that you're like, oh, well, that looks like our modern coin. Well, that's probably where our modern coin is getting it from. This has been it's been on coins for a long time. Eagles and owls and bulls and just a lot of cool stuff in those.
well, they've gotten lazy and we've supported it for a long time.
That's true. That's true.
You
And there's something about like, yeah, I guess it's just the time, and maybe that's why it's so interesting is because it was fitting to the time, yet the art was so amazing. But they were in contact with their coins, like they poured it, they held it to put it between the dies, and then they hammered that thing, and then they took it out, and was it good enough? Do we need to restrike it? I mean, there was, let alone the dye work that went into it. Like there's hands on it all the way through, and I don't know, I find that interesting. Just makes the art more realistic and artful and meaningful, and like,
So, do you appreciate the hand pours like in modern stuff? Would you rather have a hand pour? Would you rather have a printed round, or would you rather lean on a coinage when it comes to modern?
well, I suppose I like my friends when they pour, another YouTuber or something, that they pour something. I like that because there's a personal touch, and I know that person, and so I like that. But I also think that we should have normal stuff where we are stamping it out and spitting it out to everybody at just a bullion cost. You know, where we are now with it's just where we are. Would I redo it like that? I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of gimmicky stuff out there that just adds kind of clutter, but it'd be cool if you had like a few basics that everybody dealt just with for bullion. Like if everybody just used silver eagles, and you had your few different options, but then everybody would pour their own silver as their own. That would be really cool. That would be a different type of
Maybe
thing.
that's the new strike, is the melter,
Yeah, well, I see that going on right now, kind of, which is cool. Something a little unique, I guess. But yeah, I don't know. Once I got into the ancient coins, I don't think I'll get as much out of modern. Like I stack the modern more for preserving my wealth, and when I'm looking to get something out of a coin or art, I'm into ancients. That's where I'm putting my extra money. Instead of getting some nice new modern, I'll put it into an ancient coin. because I actually get something out of it. It's not just that you're getting the preservation. Like I study that thing, and I try to glean more, and the more coins I get in my hands, the more I can glean from those ancient cultures. And so there's, I'm getting a lot more out of that, I feel like.
So how do you personally strike that balance between the market and the collectability of your ancient coins? I mean, because I imagine or do most ancient coin collectors are you guys just kind of like buy it and then that's it? It kind of just lives with you forever?
Well, there's all different types. And that's kind of, I guess, I suppose that's the same in modern. But like, you get some people who want to have just one of each coin, whether it's an Athens owl, so they want one from each mint or one from each die cutter. And so there's different ways. And then there's some people that only want to collect the Roman era from this point to this point, and they want to have all of them, or some only want certain leaders. Everybody has kind of a way that they're looking at it, or that they're entering into it. Me, I came at it from modern bullion, and then I found out that ancient coins were really real, because I see these remakes of ancient coins. And so then I looked for the original, and I found out, wow, these are really real, and you can get an original. And then so I started looking into that, and that's what got me into it, was the art, and that you can get a hold of something that old, and yet it's perfectly preserved up to this point, pretty much, and you're seeing what they saw, and that meaning is still there. What they put is still there, and it's a type of record and a type of way to look back at in time, kind of. So I came at it from the aesthetic, and also like the way they correlate nature and reality into their culture and into their coins. I lost my screen. Whoa.
Well, let me ask you it like this, or further the question. So, when it comes to collecting the ancient coins, have they already decided on a difference of values between like a tomb find versus like a sunken treasure find? Or is that again come just back to the desirability of the personal collector? Or is that something that's kind of considered like a stable factor in the market? Like, so for example, if you find one in a tomb, it's going to be worth more than a treasure find right away, or vice versa.
Sure. Yeah. If you're able to, if you're like went in with an excavation team to some ancient tomb, and you have video recording, and obviously that adds a lot of value to it, because you're able to preserve and see and know who and where and how and why. All of those things get answered in a find like that. Whereas if you just find an old vase full of coins that's unearthed when you're digging a hole, you don't know who put that there, or when or why, unless it's with some particular site or something.
So again, it's like purchasing the story, really.
Yeah, I mean, you're getting a glimpse into, who knows who that guy was that buried that pot, and if maybe went back to go to war and didn't make it back, or got taken captive, or why did that stay there? Who knows, but yeah, very. But then you get to see those coins and know, well, this was from that time, and this was, this is what was circulating. So, or at least that this guy had on him.
So do you got a preference of a coin you aim after usually yourself? Like, are you like a Mediterranean or a Middle Eastern or a Oriental collector?
Yeah. So what I've found is anything BC, which is basically mostly what you would call Greek. Now, there's a lot of stuff that falls into that parameter. It's not all Greek coinage. There's all areas around it, but they kind of call the BC coins. Most of them will be Greek. So when you get up close to AD, there's some give and take there. But mostly when you consider Greek coins, it's the older of the oldest, basically, out of the coins. They started at about 650 BC, and supposedly before that they were just weighing out gold and silver for payment. So, I know,
so
like,
as close to the source as you can get, huh?
say that again.
So as close to the source as you can get, as far as like the idea of minting.
Yep. I mean, you got biblical coins that are biblical reading of Abram. That was him leaving his family before they were captive under Israel, and he was weighing out 400 shekels of silver for a payment for a plot of land. So we know that it goes back before 650 BC, quite a ways, as being money, gold and silver, but looks like in the studying that they've done, pulling up coins and whatnot, the earliest actual coinage that comes in a round form with a stamp on it. In fact, the very first were just kind of round blobs, and then they started putting images and stamping them on each side, and that was kind of around 650 supposedly BC. So, and then not long after it, about 550 BC, there was a guy called King Croesus, or Croesus, or however you would say his name, and he did the very first bimetallic money system. There was 13 silver. What was it? Staters, 13 silver staters for one gold stater. So, and then there was half staters and quarter staters. It went all the way down to like almost a half a gram in size. But so they had them in gold and in silver, but it took 13 to equal one of the gold. So,
so that would be like the first denominable coin.
Yep, where you had them in both gold and in silver.
Now, are those still are you still able to find those, or are those like top of the line collector piece?
You can still buy them. I mean, though they get expensive, but yes, I mean, I'm trying to get some myself. So, but yeah, they're
good luck on that.
Oh, I mean, it's doable. And I could have already had one. I'm just kind of waiting for one that has the art I want and all the other little things that you're looking for. Because when you buy one of these, you're spending a pretty penny on it. So you want to have what you want when you get it.
Could you give me an idea what the prices of some of these more desirable pieces would be like?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we can do that here. Let's see. What time are we at here?
What up, Neil? Good to see you. 72 grand, Neil's pointing at.
So this is this piece here that I have.
Nickel. Howdy, buddy.
Man, I lost my screen. I don't know what happened to I'm having a bit of technical difficulty here.
How small would you say that is, Imagination Hobbies? That 1/48th of a stater. I got a widow's mite from LLC as a gift, and man, that thing is tiny. It's like you could have mistook it for anything. If I had found it on the ground, I would have thought it was a piece of smashed lead slag or something.
Oh, I got it back.
Woo. 3 mil. Yeah, that's pretty small. That's about what that widow's mite is.
So this is a 5-ounce replica, basically, of this ancient coin. This is from about 330 BC. So that's 2,350 years old or something right there. And
Oh, wow. Look how clear that is.
yeah, so I should pop it out of this case, but I don't really have time. So, but if you look here, so this is the goddess Nike, and she has a little wreath in her hand, and she's putting that on uh, it's crowning basically the king. That's the king's name right there. I believe it's Lysimachus. And then on the back of the shield here, you can see there's a little lion's head on the shield. Little face of a lion on her shield that she's leaning on. Over here, you have the modern, where on the ambulance you'll see two snakes going around a stick, a pole. That's the same symbol, but from ancient times. And so you get like, a lot of symbology. And then you have this Atari sign over there. They must have had Atari back then. But I mean, there's just a lot of cool symbology in these coins for sure. He's got like this ram's horn. Yep. So, but
Is
anyway,
that an image of Pan on it, though, or
say again?
is that Pan?
No, but you can get coins with Pan on them. This is not Pan. This is actually supposed to be Lysimachus with the horn of the god Ammon. I've also heard it's the horn of a different god, but it's like a diadem, a crown that he would put on. I think it represented power, and he would, power from God, power above, the forces of, he's king right now, and that kind of shows it, in my opinion. And that's one that ties together, the power of nature and natural powers that were at the time that they would have looked at, I think, differently than we look at now. I think they were much more in tune with nature and reality in certain ways. So, but
yeah, they didn't miss a chance to say anything on those, did they?
Yeah, and they didn't necessarily have words. Like there's a couple. So the word on the back here is Basileos, which is like king. But that's all really there was. King Lysimachus is basically what that says. But a lot of it is just through symbology. You'll have an owl, and you can think of all the things that an owl represents, where it's seeing when others can't see, and a predator, and can move around when other things can't. There's just a lot there. And this coin would be about $1,500. $2,000 coin, probably 15 to 2, somewhere in there.
I could see that kind of quality. Yeah. That was a really clean piece, man. I don't even have to be collector to see that.
Yeah, and then on this piece that I'll be selling here in a little bit, we'll look at in a little bit. Maybe we should look at some osmium though, since we're not getting more movement on the silver. Let's see. I'm gonna put out one more silver piece here. I'm gonna put these up together. So, Gold Sniping Farmer, good to see you. Imagination Hobbies, welcome in. So we have two 2-ounce coins here. This is the Pan Pacific Exposition, San Francisco. We got one that's round. And again, we were just looking at a coin with Athena, with the helmet and everything on there, or talking about her at least. And this is another example of Athena on the back of a coin, modern coin. But this is actually a remake of what was it, like 1950s Pan Pacific, or not 1950s, it would have been, 1850 or something. Old exposition trading partnership, I think, is what this coin was minted about. It was their trade with California across the Pan Pacific area, I think. but they made these originally in gold. And these are, these have a COA from government, signature there by the numismatist there. And so these are 2-ounce coins. You got one octagonal, one round. Run them both together. And this is basically for the cost I got them at. So a total of 4 ounces here, $200. 2-ounce coins, one octagonal, one round. Beautiful coinage.
Yeah, I like that.
They're brand new. I've never taken them out of here, so.
Oh, well, they got him to stand tall, didn't they?
Yeah, it's nice. I like this picture. I have a set of these in my deep stack, but I have one extra set, so it's basically at cost what I paid for them as well. So,
Yeah.
But again, this is another flashback to ancient coins here. You got an owl, which was commonly done. The most common coin, one of the most common coins, even to this date, was the Athenian owl. They put out a lot of Athenian owls. And it had the owl and Athena, same as this coin. But what's cool is when you look at those, when you get those ancient coins, you get to look at the actual helmet that they would have had, much more, realistic than like what's there now.
Is that an octagonal cut?
This one is, yes.
Or is that? Yeah.
Same.
Yeah, that's cool.
It has the dolphins around it too. Forgot to show that. It has the dolphins going around the. Just like on the ancient coins, they often have dolphins going around the edge as well. This is just a total retake from ancient coins right here.
Yeah, mankind's got a long connection with the dolphin, don't we?
Mm-hmm.
Makes sense when you learn about how weird a dolphin is.
Yeah. Yeah, what I was just hearing somebody read a book, and it was like an ancient explorer or something. And they were talking about they were seeing these big gushes of water, and it sounded like a trumpet blowing it out of the water. Talking about whales blowing the water, like, that would have been crazy to see back then, I suppose, as well. All of a sudden, you hear some loud noise, and you got a spout of water shooting 20 feet in the air.
Oh, could you imagine the first time seeing any of those crazy sea life? The first time seeing a great white, if you've never even seen a shark.
Right? Teeth coming up out the water at you, you'd be like, no way.
Yeah, pulling up a fish, and it's big tuna, team of guys pulling up a tuna, and then it's gone.
Yep. Yeah, Neil, it's just a new model of an old coin, indeed.
Which one would have been the original, the octagonal or the round?
The round. I've never seen an octagonal ancient coin, but they do have, most of them are kind of round, but they did make a few that were kind of square. So. All right, we're gonna count this one down. Boy, it is not much for takers here tonight. And anybody wanted the special tonight? You guys seen the special over here? You can type in "buy it now" special if you want any 3/9 fine Golden State Mint Buffaloes. $29 a piece. A good deal.
That was a good deal.
Much under 30 from here, from very much longer, I wouldn't think. We'll see. Okay.
Yeah. Ooh, I'm getting excited.
Yeah, it's a good price. Homestead. Yeah, but so the thing with these ancient coins, though, too, is like, they spend the money to get the nicer coins, and if you're gonna get nicer coins, you got to spend a little bit more money. But I see out here on a lot of the auctions out here, there's people that don't know anything about ancient coins, like me, but they'll often sell it to the people, and they'll say this is an ancient coin, and it's just a hunk of copper that's, you can barely see the image, and they're spending like what would be a couple dollar coin, like junk bowl type coins. You can spend a lot. I feel that that's going to give a bad taste in people's mouths. But I don't know. I guess that's the way it goes. There's always a entry level knowledge gap. But for me, I like to get something that I like, that I'm happy with, that you can see what's going on, and that's when you get something out of it, when you're looking into it and you can see a lot into the past. It's cool, like that widow's mite that I sent you. It has a cool backstory, right? It's supposed to be a tiny little copper coin. That was the point of what made it cool. As far as getting into ancient coins, something like I just showed you is much more to enjoy and look at.
Yeah, I like something with some weight,
Yep.
I like the big, large coin,
Yep, that's it. The bigger the coin, the more imagery you get on them, but yeah. So I don't know, you want to pay up a little bit, and that's where you want to know your coins, and so, or at least the thing is, you want to know within the coin that you want. This is kind of the key, one of the big keys that I first found. You want to know if you want, say, an Athenian owl. You need to spend some time looking at owls and figure out which die cutter or something close to the die cutter you would like. There's so many different die cutters, and there's a lot of different looks within that one coin. So just because you have an Athenian owl doesn't mean that you have, the best Athenian owl, because there's so many different die cutters. It can be, even if it's graded a 5 of 5, the best grades you can get of that die cut, that wouldn't necessarily make it the best of that coin, because you can get another 5 of 5, the best grade you can get in a die cutter that has a little bit better art of that same coin. So that's where it gets to where you really want to know what you're personally looking for in that coin. You don't necessarily go by grade as much. What I would say.
So I had a question.
Yeah.
So along with the ancient coins, is there also Do you know of a group of people maybe that are more interested in like just extinct coins, even if they're more modernly extinct? Is there like a branch of collection that goes off like that?
More extinct.
Sorry,
I'm
that was
sure there is.
terrible. Holy moly.
I'm sure there is. I don't know. I mean, ancient coins, you have some of them that are like probably one of my favorite ancient coins I've ever seen. There's only 10 examples known. So, yeah, that's
Well, I was thinking like countries that, were and are not anymore, and, because we got a lot of those in more modern times, and so they would be extinct coinage,
sure.
I don't know if there's a more appropriate term for that, but, it just got me thinking about that, because there's a lot of them that not too long from now will be, like, historically speaking, considered ancient, but right now we wouldn't be thinking about it too much, but pretty soon they'll meet all sorts of new qualifications.
Yeah, and
Like I go through it in the fire service all the time. Like you see a bottle sitting somewhere and it could or could not be worth something based on, how prevalent it was. But 5 years from now, if that bottle's still there, all of a sudden it's important.
right.
And
Yep.
so
I find that same thing like with slabbing. A lot of people say, well, you shouldn't even slab modern coins. And I see where I know what they're meaning, but someday that slabbed coin might be unique, and being it was slabbed right away, it will be a little bit more valuable because it's so it depends on how you look at things.
well, if we drop minting completely, how valuable will that be then?
Mm-hmm. Okay, so this particular piece is taken already, but I thought we would take a quick look at it.
Oh, look at that. Somebody got himself some microscope.
Yeah, and I thought I was gonna get it so that I could just share my screen, but for some reason I cannot get it to do so. At least today I couldn't. So we're taking a video of it from the camera to the screen. So, but yeah, so you can get an idea.
Oh, that is gorgeous.
Of the sparkle.
Sparkle 1 or 2? 1?
This is a 1, yep.
Yeah, and what's the weight on that? It's a small heart, so what's
That's like probably a 0.08 or something like that. I guess I can look it up right quick here. Let's do that.
Very nice. Yeah, I was really impressed. I had that heart and I sold the heart. But I was really, really, really impressed with that heart. I mean, it covered so much space. Like it was just so wide and it looked so big. And
Yep.
then those sparkle ones, like, look here, let me say something to anybody that's listening right now. Understand this about the osmium sparkle grading. Okay. It's not like in school from an F to an A. It's not the same thing. A 1 is not less than a 5 and a 5 is not more than a 1. It's the difference in weight and size of the crystal, right? So a sparkle 5, larger crystal, sparkle 1, smallest crystal. But it's not a lesser quality crystal. And so I want like everybody to understand that right away. A sparkle 1 is not a lesser quality crystal than a sparkle 5. It's just a smaller crystal. And I personally prefer a slightly smaller crystal sometimes, depending on the piece, because you get so much more movement out of the constellations. You get much more variety.
And then my part is just you would almost, I think, want a 1. a sparkle grade 1, and something like I think for this person that I don't know exactly what they're doing. I think I know what they're doing. They have now 2 of these that are pretty well matching, identical, and whether those get put into earrings or a necklace or whatever, that type of surface area looks really good in a sparkle grade 1, especially in a heart where it can be fine like that.
Right.
The bigger, heavier sparkle grades can be really bold and gnarly, and sometimes you would want that in some designs. But like in this heart design, I agree. I mean, I would probably want it in a way.
Don't get me wrong; it would look really good in a Sparkle 5 too. Don't get me wrong, but if you're wearing that near, like, let's say you put that on a pendant and a long chain, that's going to be like in a woman's cleavage area. You know what I mean? You really don't want them to be able to focus on the points of light anyways. You know what I mean? Like, you'd rather just kind of get the glitter, something that can be caught with a quick glance, rather than a 4 that needs a little, that the eye will pay more focus to a larger point of light.
Yeah. So that piece is, hey Stuart, welcome in. Good to see you. That piece is 0.061 grams. So about what I figured. It was a 0.07. So yeah, that's one beautiful piece. I'll grab a couple that we have that we can put up for sale.
So if I was going to do like ear studs, right? Earrings for like men, I'd probably recommend somewhere between like a 4 and a 5. You know what I mean? Like, I'd do like a 4 to a 5 millimeter round, and then I'd probably make it like a Sparkle 4, Sparkle 5, something that's got a large points of light, and with as much as the head moves, you'll get plenty of motion out of it, but you won't need to be up close and personal, to see them. And so I think that'd be a really good piece. But if you were a person at a desk and your desk was your main interface with people, you in that closer proximity, I would start going between the Sparkle 1 and the Sparkle 3, somewhere in there, depending on how much motion you are going to make. Because if it's on like a center mounted chest area, you're not going to get as much motion. And so you're going to need something that's going to react a little bit quicker, like a Sparkle 1. But if you got something with more motion, like a hand, that's more frequently moving, you might start leaning towards the 2 and the 3. And, depending on how close they are, because the closer they get, you might actually want the Sparkle 1s and 2s, because, it's going to make more motion in front of them. Because if you get real close and personal with a 4 or a 5 Sparkle, then you got to like really crank those things around to get the motion. But if you're at a distance with them, you can catch it a lot easier. So, sorry, rant.
No, yep, all true, good information. Okay, so we've got
Liberty. Sorry.
No, yeah. We got a couple little pieces here we'll put up. Okay, so this piece is, I'll come over here to identify osmium, put this code in as well so we can see what it looks like on the website. Okay, so we've got, this piece is a 3 millimeter average layer thickness, 0.34 millimeters, sparkle grade 3, which is medium, Average sparkle. Camera. And get my handy dandy jewel picker.
Oh, did you go get one?
I did.
Which one did you get?
The one you got, the one you showed.
Oh, that little silver one? Yeah, that's a good one.
They had one other one there. I didn't get it, but this thing works great.
Yeah, doesn't that just change your world? It's so much better than tweezers and stuff like that. Can we see that on the big screen?
Yeah, hold on here.
Yeah, you're getting oriented. I
guess I can put it all the way up for a minute. Get some zoomage here. Oh yeah. Look at that. Yeah, this one. So you can see the difference between that last Sparkle Grade 1 and this is Sparkle Grade 3. So you get a lot.
Yeah, look at that guy go. Oh yeah.
That's
those are big old points. Wow, that's almost leaning out of 4.
That's a heavy sparkle, isn't it? Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. It's really chunky there.
Yeah, those things like about a 35-degree angle of light, somewhere around there.
Oh, look at that.
Look at that. Yeah, it's most difficult thing in the world to film that I've ever freaking handled.
Yeah, and see, if I was just screen sharing, it would look way better, but I'm going through a camera. In fact, I didn't even take this plastic piece of.
I faced the same problem. I would love to be able to interface.
I'm going to get a different one that you can interface with so that I can just show my screen, because it's so pretty.
Yeah, it looks great on the screen, like in person, and then that blue light gets filtered out and makes it look dull.
Yep, it doesn't look quite. I grab it. Try to.
You got some good pics out of yours, Stuart? How long did it take you, buddy? Hey, Stuart, let me ask you something. Have you dropped your osmium yet?
Hey, Artist Resin, welcome in. Good to see you.
Who in here's dropped their osmium so far? I have. I'll raise my hand first.
I have yet
I've dropped my osmium. Not yet?
Not yet, because I've got your cool little picker here, so that's helping me so far.
First thing is, try not to be too excited when you handle. Sometimes I get excited, and man, that little stuff, it's got like great inertia on it. Like, so be careful with that tool is what I'm saying. Because if you kind of give it like a little rotary flick, man, it will wing. That mass just takes off like a rocket. You can launch that stuff like off that little gel tip. Like if you kind of like foosball flick it, you know?
Sure.
But warning.
Right.
Hey, look at that, man. That is a really thick piece. What's your dimension on that?
It's 0.34 millimeters thickness.
Wow.
That's beefy.
On a 3 mil?
Yeah.
That's insane.
It's beefy.
That is thick. You know, and that Sparkle 3 really shows it when they cut through one of those crystal formations.
Yeah.
Like if you look on the bottom left, you can see that really tall formation there. You could just tell it was that was a tall formation that got ripped through.
Yep.
That's great.
Yep. Okay, so let's see.
What up, Resin? Nice to see you.
What's 121 euros? Does anybody have a?
It's like $1.09 to the euro. So times it by 1.09. How convenient. I am not exiting the screen to go to my calculator. I just know it'll shut me out.
Yeah, I think I can get it anyway. 132.25. So we're gonna do 135.
You know, Liberty, that's the first time I've seen a triangle in more than the, putting it in a cart. And yeah, that looks great in person. Maybe it's the side profiling. You get a lot of side profiling of the crystal, for the area of the piece.
Yeah, and I can change the lighting, which changes the constellation pops out at you.
Yeah, artist. When you're talking about osmium, especially nowadays, I'm finding it's important to include crystal osmium because it is different than osmium. It's there's a lot of purity differences. There's
it's not toxic.
And it's atomically structured so close packed that it's just ultra dense and uniform, so
it's the most dense element. It's the most dense. It's the
it's the rarest.
It's almost as far as diamond back and forth. It's an amazing element.
Yeah, it's the most compressible substance on Earth. It's the most the most abrasive. It's the purest. It's theorized to be 11 nines fine. Theorized because we don't really have the ability to test it that far, but we could hypothetically test it potentially up to 11 nines fine. But it's definitely the most abrasive. It's the most reflective on Earth. Most reflective substance on Earth. Each one of those crystal facets is a perfect mirror. There's zero refraction, and it's 100%, or as near as you can get, of perfect reflectivity. What else, man?
Yeah, there's no acid line that can eat it away.
Yeah, perfectly inert. That's right. Hot or cold. No acid or alkaline, hot or cold. It doesn't even oxidize till somewhere around, 400, between 400 and 500 degrees of heat, before it even starts to oxidize. It doesn't melt till, what is it, like 4,500 degrees? Or no, right over 4,000 degrees, it starts to melt. And then right over 9,000, it starts to boil into a vapor. And that's what's necessary to create it. So
you need a perfectly clean vacuum with 9,000 degree vapor. and then you have to coax it to a crystallization form, which
which is done with a sputtering gun and seeding, and then it's an incredibly tedious process.
And it's the most rare element. And so you're talking this is something, it's a platinum byproduct. And it's 1,500 times rarer than gold. And so not only does it hold all these, unique attributes like most dense, most scratch resistant, most inert, all that. It's like the rarest element. It's like it holds so many titles. That in itself makes and then you can put that in the most beautiful jewelry form that we've probably known to exist so far on yourself or on your wife, and pass that generational wealth down to your children. And that's the other thing that it has is the built-in security code,
verifiability.
Yeah.
And it's you cannot replicate it. You cannot forge it. You can't. I mean, it's got 10,000 times more recognition points per square millimeter than your fingerprint.
Yeah, artist resin, exactly. That's it. Women love it, and men love it too. Like I want to stack it for wealth preservation, but yet you can, like my first piece I gave to my wife because, it's so beautiful, and what a beautiful gift to give that's going to have such a value addition, and so yeah, I think both sides can end up quite happy with it.
Oh, I sold a heart the other night, and to a female, and she's a wonderful person. She was excited, like she was gonna grab a 2 mil square, and then she saw the heart, and she wanted that, and like, and she has no idea when. I'm sure when she opened that package, I bet it just, it's because there's nothing like it until you see it in person. In person, in the sun. I mean, it's a whole new ball game in beauty.
Yep, you think it's lit up itself, but it's just it tricks your eyes because you get so much reflection out of it.
Well, and at nighttime too, I've been telling people it's not just a sunshine metal. This is a club jewelry. Like when I shine a laser on it, or I shine a red light, or just whatever light I shine on it, blue's the only light I lose. Like, so whenever I use like UV spectrum on it, it's not that wonderful. It's still very reflective, but any other color of light is like perfect reflection. Any other wavelength.
Yeah, I might get my piece out. Stuart's asking about my falling star. Maybe I should put that under there.
Oh, that was so cool. The star, yeah, that's one of the more intricate shapes I've seen moving around now.
That's pretty.
Yeah. Yeah, it is a non-compressible, so like, but it is hard, so I guess the potential of like shattering or breaking is a slight potential.
Yeah,
but like,
yeah, go ahead.
Gouging is not. I would say gouging is not really a concern. Like, accidentally hooking it on your car keys or something silly like that.
Right.
I wouldn't call that, like, your diamond. You would chip your diamond before you'd ever lose a piece of your osmium.
Liberty, you want one of those at 135 payment plan?
Artist, it's so cool that you fell into this one. You got all the club osmium up in here. What's up, Brown Sugar? You still in here? I never get to say hi to you with my voice, ever.
I missed her. I didn't know she was in here.
Oh, Liberty is showing 135 on the screen.
All right, Liberty, we will let me know if you want a payment plan on that, or you just wanting it outright. But either way, I will put your name on it. Cool, very cool. Yeah, you got a piece of the most rare. I gotta make this list so I can just pin it up here because it's like so many of them. You forget when you're about halfway through. It's like so many things that it takes the title of.
Dude, that's so dope, LBS. Club Osmium, dude. Oh my goodness.
No doubt. Welcome in, man. Yeah, you got to get yourself one of these pickers, man. This is from SPACEMINER. I found out about it through SPACEMINER because he showed me up on his first auction with this stuff, along with the microscope. So thanks,
Yeah, buddy,
SPACEMINER.
get that right away. Oh, look at that. Just doop. Spin
Nice.
it around on the tip, B. Like put it back in view and show the dexterity of that little tool.
Okay, well, I'll get it. I'll do it on this next piece, man.
Oh yeah, that's right. You're cranking out a.
Let me get the LBS on this. I don't mix it up here.
Yeah, and if I'm not mistaken, that should have a designation code of a letter A to start.
No, it has T3 because this isn't a square. I bet you're thinking
that's a T designation. The
first letters are T3.
T3, interesting. Because most of the 2D shapes come in an A, and the T is usually used to designate like titanium setting, like because they do the titanium jewelry.
Okay.
And so like T11, T10 through like T25, representing like titanium setting, and then like the size of the piece or measurement of the piece. So that's interesting that they give you a T designation, because 2D shapes are A. The osmium pearls are a B. The 3D shapes are a G. Let's see. The stars and the diamonds, okay, they kind of mix match those between the D and an S. Usually you order a star, you'll get an S. You order a diamond, you'll get a D. But they kind of like mix class them. Oh, wow, look at that guy.
Back out just a bit to get him in the screen.
Yeah, and then like the big round bars are going to be K, and then the medium edge bars, which are like your rectangles and stuff, those are going to be like an F. So your squares will be Qs will be the Q and then the number designating the size.
Okay, cool. Happy Tiger, good to see you. Gerald Draper, welcome in. Yeah, this is my shooting star.
Oh, I know why. Because they put it in a setting, dude. That's why they give you a T. Because it's a jewelry. So it's probably not limited to the
this one
titanium.
The triangle is the one that was the T.
That was the T?
Yeah.
What they designate this shooting star as?
It is a... It's an A.
It's the 2D shape A. Interesting. Triangle T, I guess.
That's what I'm looking. Yeah.
Yeah, duh. I don't know why I didn't think of that right away.
I mean, I'm not sure, but it could be.
What up, Gerald? Nice to see you, buddy.
Okay, so let's see. I got one more triangle piece I'll put up. What was that? Somebody was... I'm supposed to do something. Remind me.
Okay, so maybe it's the T10 and above is probably the titaniums. Because I don't know that they make a triangle beyond like an 8 or a 9.
Okay, I don't know either.
I don't know.
Okay, I'm gonna look this one up. How are we looking at the camera there? Oh, it's pretty in there.
What up, Happy Tiger?
My camera gets a little different picture than my eye does, so I got to adjust to the camera. That's funny. Okay. I'm going to enter this code in for this piece. Is a T3 again.
Triangle 3 millimeter.
Yep. PA 67 dash FQXQ.
Yeah. And if you guys are listening in, what he's doing, in case you don't know, the crystal osmium comes, every one of them come with their own code. And it's eight random digits preceded by a designation code. So you'll have like a letter number combo, 2 digits and a letter number combo at the beginning, and then it'll follow with 8 completely random digits. And I want to say they leave like I and the number 1 out just because of misdesignation. I'll have to remember again, but so yeah, the first 2 designate what type of piece, and then the next 8 are completely random and assigned to your piece. So if you hear him saying the extra numbers and letters, that's what he's doing, entering in the code.
Thank you for that explanation.
Probably not necessary in this room, huh?
No, it is. Any extra information is helpful because I am often too busy doing other things to get the good information out there. But this is a sparkle grade 4, this piece here. These are some heavy sparkle grades. They were like you said, that last one looked like a 4 as well. So I think they're both fairly close. This one's a 0.44 millimeters, so a little bit thicker even. But
yeehaw.
These are basically matching. I mean, they by the naked eye, these would be matching pieces, even though they're a little different when it comes down to actual values. Okay, and this year, 133.70 euros. What is that? $146.09. Okay, so let's do 150.
So here's another interesting note for those that are just getting their first piece. The Osmium Institute also has an app, and you can input your pieces into the app, and it'll like track your price fluctuation. So whenever you get it, once you've registered it to yourself, and you've put it into the app, it'll offer you a selection to say, hey, this was for a land purchase, or this was an inheritance, or it was a gift, or I bought it for this much, and so you can input your price that you bought it with, and then it'll track the price of each piece of osmium, your fluctuations in the price. So, and then it offers like, a chart and access to the store and stuff through there. So
I'm going to see if I can get closer and refocus. It's brand new for me, guys, here, this microscope. So just learning about it, what I can and can't get from it. Well, there you go. Oh,
dun dun dun.
Almost lost my first piece there.
I was waiting. Yeah, those 4s really are big. The Sparkle 4s, those are really big crystals. They really are. There's not a... Yeah, but even these Sparkle... You guys got to be careful with these Sparkle grades, because sometimes a 4 can be just like a 5, and sometimes a 3 can be close to a 4, and etc. Some of those Sparkle 1s I've seen hitting like 2s and 3s.
My goodness, look at all those different... That's so cool.
So all those points of light are referred to as constellations. Okay, your grid of points of light. Like, so if you took a stationary capture of those points of light, that's one constellation, and then you change the angle of the light and change the sparkles up, and it's a new constellation. So that's what I'm referring to. Your constellation varieties. Hypothetically, back to like security and stuff, I've wondered if you could verify them by the amount of reflectivity, like if you were using them as security pieces. I wonder if each piece has its own reflectivity, amount of light actually getting back to the sensor.
Angle of light all the time for that, I would think.
Right. So if you like offset the laser by a small amount, you could throw off the security.
Right. But I would think you could get the overall definitions to be a match code, like you were talking about for a security code. Sit there and scan it from all angles, and that would probably work.
There's probably 100 different points of light on this easy, that we see right here. So if you had a laser that like screen captured like 3 degrees of angle, on the piece, it would capture, those are, it's like a 100-digit code, 100-digit code, 100-digit code, 100-digit code, the whole way through the 3 degrees. How many digits and spectrums? If you only met like 80% of it, of like if you rotated this little laser like 3 degrees, like give it 3 degrees angle difference, and it captured all those different constellations, right?
Yeah.
And then only captured like 80% of those, you'd still be capturing,
oh yeah,
thousands.
Your scanner itself could have, like, depending on your piece, you could have the lights offset 3 different positions, and just each time you walk up to and scan it, you'd be hitting those same angles, and it would read.
Yeah, and even if you did a percentage just for error rate, you're still dealing with hundreds and thousands of recognition points,
Yep.
Wow, that looks good. That's a good looking piece. I love that little mountain in the center, that little ridge going up the top.
Yeah, that's cool. It's a nice piece for sure. Beefy. It's a beefy 4 mil. Or Sparkle 4.
Look at that.
They call it a 4 rough. Strong sparkle. That's how they have it labeled. I'm not trying to get used to their labeling system and see how they have it labeled.
They might determine that. I'd be curious to know, and I'll try to find out, but I wonder if it's set based on the original disc it's cut from. So like when they pull the individual disc, I wonder if they say this, they qualify it there, and then whatever cut you get out of it from there.
Right. I think that's probably the case. I think you're probably right. Oh, Brian Kerr already has some. Sweet. You must have got that from you, SPACEMINER, or else directly from me,
Yeah, he can tell us if he wants.
Right. Well, that's cool, Brian. It's you're one of the few people out there who can say so.
Did you put it in the app, Brian? Did you get the app and put it in to track it?
All right, we're gonna start counting this one down. We've got no bid at 150, and we're gonna count her down.
Oh, it's such a good-looking piece. Oh, wow. Look at that guy go.
Oh, wow. Look at that.
Yes, you can see that, can't you? Oh, good golly.
Wow. Look at that. That is cool. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo. Wow, that's cool.
See, right here, B, is where I would flip the piece over. I'd use that little tool to grab it on the back.
Back of it, too.
And then I'd dance it in the camera right there. Just use your hand to dance it.
Not as good as you on that there. I want to show them the back. So this is the back.
Oh, wow, that's a really sparkly back.
It is. That's almost sparkle grade there.
Nearly. Neil, are you still here, buddy? Neil definitely got what they call a double-sided piece. It was a double-sided, right, Neil? But is that anything comparable to what you got, or is yours more crystally than that?
I think my double-sided is a bit more crystally than that, but that's pretty good there. I mean, that's definitely, you can get away with calling that two-sided almost.
Later, LBS. Nice to see you.
Hey, thanks for stopping in, Liberty. Nice pickup.
Okay. So yours was even more. Was it within the cavitation of the back, or was it on the face, on the actual facing of it, that you had more crystalline, Neil? Or did it just appear like in like little pockets and cavities, kind of like a geode would appear, a cut geode?
Look at that.
Woo! Look at how thick that is.
Look at those pyramids in there.
Look at that side profile. Oh my goodness. Oh. That is so cool.
Oh.
My goodness, dude, this might be one of the best captures yet.
Look at that.
Wow, that is so cool. You need to like screenshot that or something.
I wish I could screen share it because it's clear coming through without the cameras. Oh man, look at that.
Wow, that is fantastic.
Look at those pyramids in there. Oh, wow.
Wow, look how thick that, dude, that thing's a piece of pie. Dude, that is fantastic.
That is crazy. Yeah, that's something amazing there.
Wow.
Whew. Tedious but cool. That is by
dude, I've never seen a side profile like that.
I've never seen that either. That's just too cool there. Once I get a microscope that can share screens, that'll be some good visual candy there. That's the way to do that. I've never seen it look that good. Whew.
Right, Gerald?
That was 5 mil, yeah. I mean, that's a man, and the blues in that, man, those pyramids are just. Woo. I'm glad I got this max.
Neil, did you see that side profile, or were you gone for that? Oh, Neil, I hope you didn't miss that view. That was cool, man.
Yeah, it was.
So Neil's saying his back was comparable to something like unto a Sparkle 2.
Holy cow.
Yeah, that's incredible. Wow, that was cool, B. That was really cool, man. I've never seen the side profile look like that.
That was cool. Yeah. Made my night.
Yeah, that was a great moment.
That was
in
museum history.
It kind of was, dude. That was like, I haven't seen such a great capture of that side profile before.
I agree. And I think if I get something where I can share my screen and I'm not shooting through 3 different screens and angles, that'll be some high quality footage. Well, I'm glad I caught your sale, which is what inspired me to get this microscope and picker, both of which are what enabled that shot. So,
yeah, that was.
I'm definitely glad I caught your stream to know as well as to do such a thing.
Excellent stage work, B. Excellent stage work.
Yeah, well, thanks for getting me there. Cool.
That was fun, man. I'm all smiling ear to ear.
Oh, I'm excited too. Dude, I gotta show Ian. He's gonna be liking that. All right. Well, I'm gonna count this beautiful piece down. If you guys are wanting this piece, I'm gonna count it down. We got it at 150, and it was at like, let me see here. What was the actual? Yeah. So it's at 146.09 straight across. So you're looking at a little under a $4 premium there. It's coming to me for that amazing footage. So it'd be getting in at a good deal.
That is a great deal. That is a good looking piece. Oh my goodness. And did you see that little spike the other day coming out of the osmium?
No.
A tetrahedron inside a spiderweb globe. That would be something else. I like that. I like that idea. Oh no.
Okay. The footage making piece is still available. Up for grabs. Man, that was some impressive pyramids there in that piece.
You know, that would be pretty cool, wouldn't it, Neil? Even if you framed it with like silver or platinum or something, even if you had to frame it. Now, if you could get it right on meshed up against each other, that'd be real good too, but
I'm gonna bring my camera down so I can show this. Yeah, like SPACEMINER said, these pickers are, for those of us that are going to be handling it, are a necessity. So check this out. I can really see it over there.
yeah, I had to go get myself a new one because I had set a 3mm diamond into one of my rounds, and I put it in the capsule, right, thinking like that's best way to preserve it. Well, that little bit of motion inside of the capsule, it cut a ring within my capsule, as it was like tumbling and spinning around in there, and it filled my osmium full of plastic. And so I used that little tool to scrub it out, and I was just like, oh my goodness. And I'm like, well, that's a 3mm pocket piece now. So I had to go grab a new tool, but it was a good tool. The tool worked really well. It pulled all that stuff out.
Nice. Yeah, that's a cool. It's definitely worth it. Definitely worth the money. It's only like a few dollars anyway, whatever it was. Okay, cool. Well, that's the osmium section of our show. Let me stop sharing.
You want to give us an idea where you're wanting to take your osmium investments, be? Like shapes or sizes you're after next, or what would you like to see out of yourself?
Well, I'm trying to get him to work me out some beehive hexagonal shapes for me. So that's what I'm after, is to make some piece out of hexagonal beehive looking hexagons.
Do you know what size you're going to take them to?
Well, no, I just told him smaller because the piece that he has now that are cut like that are like, I don't know, 10 grand or something. 5
Yeah,
grand.
they're big pieces, aren't they?
So yeah, I just want them affordable down to a few $100s or somewhere in there, and that's where I'm going with them right now. Anyway,
Maybe some 5 mils or something like that.
yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot that can be done, and I mean, you can come up with so many different designs. I like, just as far as the design in itself. I mean, I really like that heart. I mean, that's going to be, hard to beat. I mean, you can do a diamond, but I mean, there's some certain shapes that will work. But also, I mean, you can make bar forms and like piece them together where you can make some really unique pieces for sure. So I'm kind of not trying to rush into it and kind of wait for something to pop out at me, like a good idea. So yeah, but I'm getting asked by a few people what my design is going to be, and I'm not really sure. I'm trying to get after that, like I say, the hexagonal pieces, but other than that, and I kind of want those to just sell straight up as is, just to give other people a chance to do what they want to do.
Yeah, I'm kind of prepping for the experimental wave is what I'm kind of preparing for. I'm, trying to grab pieces that'll keep them affordable for people, and try to stall off the surge as far as possible,
Yeah, and that's what those hexagonal pieces are supposed to have, no extra waste cut, so there's not really supposed to be much of a cutting cost to them. So what I'm hoping to do is get those at a fairly low price and just move them raw, and I can have a correlation. That hexagon will correlate to my channel anyway, and then I'll probably work on other pieces for more of a jewelry design.
Right. Do you know what kind of jewelry you're aiming at?
No, but like I have some. I think that I'm kind of learning as I go along with the osmium too. Like just like we were talking about the sparkle grade 1, been working well in that heart, and if you have like a couple pair of earrings of that, it will. I'm hearing that echo again now coming through on your side.
On my side?
Yeah.
But
anyway, yeah. So I think the beefer, more gnarly pieces like the one we were just looking at, can definitely have a stronger, more gnarly, more raw. So I think you can adjust your pieces, a lot per your design in that manner too. So yeah, I think that'll be something cool, is you can maybe design some more feminine designs and then some more heavier designs, and I think you can. There's definitely room to play in this area anyway.
I think the jewelers over time will learn to appreciate the crystal osmium for that, because it's a lot easier to control those factors with just ordering the correct sparkle grade, as compared to like cutting and recutting or micro cutting diamonds and stuff like that, and setting a bazillion diamonds into something. And I think, for them to control it real easy like that, between a rough sparkle to like a fine various, I think they'll really learn to appreciate that level of control they have over the aesthetics of the lighting.
Yeah. So we are.
That's another way of saying I agree with you.
Artist Resin, thanks for stopping in. Appreciate you.
Later, artist. Good seeing you.
So this particular ancient coin comes from Tarsus, Mazios, Cilicia Tarsus, the leader who had this minted, not magistrate, satrap, I guess is what you'd call him, ruler of his area. His name was Mazios, and he had this struck in about 361 to 334 BC. So this would be 250, 60, or 2,360, 70, 80 years old.
Wow.
And on it we have all of Tarsus seated holding an eagle with the wheat ear and bunch of grapes and scepter in the other hand. And then on the flip side we have a lion attacking a bull. And this is our example. Let me get zoomed in here. All right, so here we have Baal of Tarsus. And I think if you go, so again, I was talking about later in his reign, he meets Alexander the Great at the gates of Babylon. And he opens up Babylon to Alexander the Great. And he actually gives Alexander the Great his wife. In doing so, he left him kind of in charge of his area. But yeah, so when Alexander the Great came in, their supreme god was Zeus, and they would often have him on the back of their coin. Here we have Baal on the back of the coin, but they would have been kind of interchangeable as far as they would have looked at their gods. They would have kind of been, by different names, but the same kind of supreme god seating. So, but yeah, and so this is minted a couple hundred years after Daniel in the lion's den, and Daniel also talks about standing in the gates of Babylon. And so a couple hundred years later, after Daniel in the lion's den, you have this satrap standing in the gates of Babylon and turning the city over to Alexander the Great. And it's got this example of a lion and a bull on the back. And I don't know, I just find that kind of interesting that it can kind of tie it back to Daniel in the lion's den and standing in the gates of Babylon. So, yeah, getting something like this in your hands, it's got some toning on it that I find just oozes ancient coin. So it doesn't really bother me. I kind of quite like it. Great strike on both sides. And so of course you got your all seated on the throne here. It's got really nice feet on this particular piece. A lot of times those rounded ball feet will be wore down and wore off, but this one still has a lot of all of its definition sticking out. They one of the high points of the coin. Then you can see his scepter, and up at the top of the scepter it has a lotus flower. Is what's on the top of that scepter there, and then of course you've got the little wreath, tree branches for a diadem there. And you got your eagle and wheat ear of wheat and a cluster of grapes hanging off the branch. And underneath his seat here, we have, I believe, if that's the mint or the area that came from. Yeah, I still can't remember still haven't looked up the language of that lettering. I still need to do that. But anyway, it's a beautiful coin. Great example of an ancient coin here. This one is probably my nicest that I've ever had. And yeah, it goes for about $25.50.
Now, is that a full silver or is it a mixed metal?
Full silver. As far as, so that's one of the reasons I collect these ancient coins and keep them to the Greek BC period, is these ancient Greek coins were often very high grade silver. They would, of course, been pure to them. It was they're about 98% and up for purity. So I was actually quite surprised that they were that pure of a metal for that time. So obviously here, like if you look up here at the very top, there's a little bit of corrosion, that could be some other mineralization there or something. But overall, they're pure silvers.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yes, it's very important.
Wow, 98%.
90, yeah, exactly. That's what I thought, man. 90. And though, like, you get some low quality ones that are like 95, but in general, they kind of say 98 and above is kind of the average. So, but there is enough different stuff within that 2% that you can kind of use a RF machine or whatever they're called, and look at the metals within it. And that's one thing they use to make sure it's an ancient coin, because it'll have some of those rare elements within it. So.
Now, was this one just produced in one location, or would you expect this coin to have a couple different metal compositions in the impurities?
No, because this one was, I've actually had 2 of these coins now. And there was a few different mints that they were minted at, but they were all from Cilicia Tarsus is who they were, this Mazios is who they were being minted for, and he was the ruler of Cilicia Tarsus, kind of a big area at that time. So there was a couple different mints, and there would have been probably a few different die cutters within each mint, but no, most of these were from within that one area and a few mints. Like right here,
sounds like he was just trying to keep up with production, huh?
Yeah, I mean that was a lot of it. Production area down here. This little symbol right here is the mint mark, I believe, of what mint this was minted from. Sometimes you get no mint mark down here or a different emblem, and that was telling you that it was from which mint it was from, basically. Like we have a Philadelphia that doesn't have an abbreviation for it, and that means it's from Philadelphia or San Francisco or whatever it is.
Right.
It's the same with them kind of type thing. So yeah, so we'll run this at 20. Let me grab the info here, and we'll run this. Out here. I'm actually 5 minutes over time, so let's get this right.
Oh goodness, my apologies. It's my fault.
Good.
I got rambling about osmium.
Yep. All right. So, and it's about 10.86, about 11 grams is what a stater is. So that's a stater. What you call a stater.
Now, do you remember or do you know what the issuing weight was?
Yeah,
Because I imagine some of that's lost, but
that's one thing that is that's the other one of the other methods they use is weighing your coins. You'll be amazed at how well all their coins weigh out. Like if it's off a little bit, it's not a real coin. Like they were very particular about their weights. So they would all been within 10 point. What did I say? That was 10.86 or something. It would have been like 10.75 to 11 or something. It might have varied, but they're all pretty close to.
wow.
Yeah. Like they said, that Croesus had coins. They had such small silver coinage in their first bimetal coins. Because they didn't have copper in their first bimetal, it was just gold and silver. And so they made silver coins down to really small sizes for small purchases. But I mean, we're talking half a gram piece. So here's a gram, and they were making them under a half a gram. And they would have an art. And amazingly, there would be like some artwork on that tiny thing as well, which is amazing. So,
incredible.
And then before long, they realized that small was just too small, and then they brought in copper for the smaller purchases.
Yeah, that makes good sense.
Very interesting stuff. Gerald Draper. Yeah, that triangle piece was pretty sweet, and it had some beautiful pyramids on it. It was a good representation for a triangle piece. Man, that was some good footage. I can't wait to go back and look at that. That was cool.
Yeah, that was just a quality example of that crosscut that you always see in their high resolution imagery, but you never really
see it when you're just looking with your naked eye.
And I think that straight edge on the triangle really accentuated that, because you see it on the round stuff, but you only catch such a small scope of it, that I don't really think you see the big valley and stuff, So that was really cool.
Yep. All right, we're going to count this one down. One. We got no biddo. All right. Well, I think that's going to wind it up for tonight. And
appreciate you having me.
Yeah, thanks so much for hanging out with me and chatting.
Oh man, I had a great time.
Yeah, me too. We will have to begin sometime. Maybe sometime we'll do an Osmium special between us, and we can go back and forth or something between our pieces.
Anyway, why don't you just hit me up with any ideas you have on the side?
Cool. Yeah, we'll do it again sometime for sure. All right, everybody out there in chat, thank you so much for coming tonight. I appreciate you. And we will be back this Saturday. And possibly, I think I'm going to be having Aaron, hopefully, with Harlan J. Burke for Ancient Coins back on here soon. So keep an eye out for that. And we will catch you all on the next one. Thanks, guys. Thanks again, SPACEMINER.